My name's Mark Sandeen. I'm Chair of Sustainable Lexington, and what we want to talk about today is our Community Choice Program in Lexington. And Paul Gromer is here. Paul Gromer is the president of Peregrine Energy Group, who is the consultant that we hired to help us roll this program out and work us through all the approval cycles with the DOER and the DPU and many other aspects of approvals needed, and then to go out and find us the energy at the prices we're looking for. So what we want to talk about today, you saw the signs coming in. What we're basically talking about today is that Lexington's Community Choice Program has done something, I think, which is a really amazing thing. We probably wouldn't have been able to do this a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We're able to go out and find 100% renewable electricity for all the people in Lexington at a less price than you would pay for Eversource basic service. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the reasons for that and why we did that. But basically, a lot of people ask, well, what is community choice? It's essentially a law that was put in place in 1997 when we split the utilities apart from being a vertically integrated utility where they delivered the electricity and generated the electricity, and all the electricity went through one entity. Well, it got split apart in 1997, and at that point in time, the Massachusetts legislature said that communities could go out and pool the demand from all the residents and all the businesses in town and go out and secure electricity for reasons of their own. And we've chosen in Lexington that we would like to go out and look for cheaper and cleaner sources of electricity, and that's what we have done. So before this occurred, this is essentially what we've been doing, what we're doing right now, and before the Community Choice Program goes into place. You're going to see you, the customer, is getting your electricity. Eversource has a monopoly on delivering all the electricity in Lexington. No matter where it comes from, Eversource is in charge of delivering the energy, repairing the lines, answering the customer service questions, doing the billing, and all that sort of stuff. And right now, they go out and they source the electricity from conventional sources, nuclear, natural gas, some coal, some oil, and there's a minimum amount of renewable energy that comes from state mandate. And so what we've decided we want to do is switch out that source from the sort of conventional electricity, the nuclear and natural gas and coal plants, and primarily go out to the marketplace and get wind power. And so what we're able to do is go out and get some wind power from local sources, some additional wind power from New England sources, and some additional wind power from national sources. And the net result of that is that we have three options for a community choice. The top one is the default option, and this is the option that we would suggest people take advantage of if they are interested in saving money on their bill and being renewable, 100% renewable. For people who want to go a little extra mile, we have an option called New England Green for the people who think that renewable energy is important to be generated in the local area. And so the New England Green, we go out and we source all of the energy coming from local wind farms in the New England area, mainly Maine and New York and Rhode Island, and there's a few in Massachusetts, but it's the states just surrounding Massachusetts. And then for people, we have a third option called Basic, which is for people who don't care about renewable energy, who don't want 100% renewable energy for less money. And they can go with the Basic option, which basically gives you the same electricity mix that you would get if you stayed with Eversource. And so here are the rates that you're going to be looking at. The 100% green is about 10.45 cents a kilowatt hour, and the Eversource rate here is 10.76 cents a kilowatt hour. So what it means is that for the average Lexington resident, average Lexington resident uses about 750 kilowatt hours of electricity a month. That means that average resident will be saving a couple bucks a month on their electricity bill. at the time this program starts. The New England Green product is a 12 cent per kilowatt hour. It's probably the lowest price I've seen for 100% New England renewable energy since we've started to do these programs. I look back to 2008. This is a better price than anything that's been available since then. NSTAR Green, you may have heard about back in 2008, 2009, started off at about 1.4 cents higher than New England, than the Eversource basic rate, and this is about 1.2 cents better than the New England Green, than the NSTAR Green rate, the basic service rate, excuse me. So the basic rate is just a tiny little bit less than the 100% green, so you don't actually save a lot of money going that direction. So from a community choice perspective, residents and...
Mark, can I ask questions as you go, or do you want us to wait?
You should go ahead, sure.
How often does Eversource change their rates?
It's a good question. Eversource changes their rates every 6 months. They change on July 1st and they change on January 1st. And they go out for set the rates on November 15th, so you get about a 6-week notice from when Eversource notifies you what the rates are going to be in January, and May 15th when they notify you what the rates will be in July. And so what we've done is we've gone out and we're doing through December of 2018. So it's about 18 months worth of, so you'll be seeing this would take effect from the end of July, which is when most people have their meters read in Lexington, until December of 2018. Yes?
Why is it only wind and not also solar?
Wind is considerably less expensive than solar. So the Class 1 renewable RECs for wind are running about $21 a megawatt hour right now. The Class 1 RECs for solar are going for $250, $280, $300, $400 a megawatt hour. It'd be considerably more expensive right now to go with a solar product than a
Even with all the solar that we're generating here in Lexington, you know, over at the
yes.
Hartwell Avenue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so wind is less expensive than solar.
Are those prices before or after subsidies?
Which product?
Is the government subsidizing wind more than solar, or is it strictly?
This is a market-based thing.
Yeah.
The way this works is that when you go out and when you purchase wind, you're essentially purchasing wind at a market rate. When you're purchasing solar at a market rate. So these when we buy wind, when we spend money, when we do our community choice, some of that money that we spend on electricity goes to the wind farms. So you could consider that to be a subsidy. Some people would consider that to be compensation. So when you provide a service, you get some money back. What we're essentially doing is we're providing compensation to people who are running wind farms.
One other question, you talked about what happened in 1997. I don't know why, I thought I had heard that towns near us, like Belmont and Concord, had their own electric, which was much, much cheaper than ours.
Yes, there are 41 communities in Massachusetts that have a municipal light department, Belmont and Concord, among them Wellesley, there's a bunch of them. And
why aren't we there?
Why aren't we there? There has been no new municipal light plants that have been approved in Massachusetts other than Fort Devens since 1926. So when they shut down Fort Devens, the military was generating their own power, so they were allowed to sort of do this. It's kind of outside the scope of this conversation about why we don't have more municipal light plants in Massachusetts. And we can have that conversation after this if you'd like to talk about it, but it's probably about a half an hour conversation. But the fact is that if you wanted to start a municipal light plant, you'd have to buy all the telephone poles and the wires and all the infrastructure from Eversource, and they'd have to want to sell it. And why would a monopoly want to sell it?
Why do they have a monopoly?
Because we wrote into our laws in 1997 that they have a monopoly. So we need to go back and talk to people in 1997. If we had a time machine, we could revisit that, but that's sort of where we are. I'm sorry, yes.
So, with the new sourcing, is Eversource still responsible for delivery to the homes and
Absolutely.
billing and repairs and all that?
Yes, yes, so that doesn't change. So, as you see here, Eversource is still delivering the energy, repairing the lines, and serving the customers. When you have a problem, you call Eversource, you still get the same bill. I'll show you what the bills look like after a little bit later on, and you'll see that there's very little difference, actually. You wouldn't notice any difference. You would not notice any difference. Okay. So, as I was about to say, the community choice residents and businesses can opt out of this at any time they want. There's no penalties or fees for opting out. You can opt out today, you can opt out tomorrow. If it comes to be in January or July of next year and you're not happy with how things are going, all you need to do is call Eversource up, one phone call, and you're back on Eversource basic service. Or if you wanted to switch to another competitive supplier, or somebody else came in and gave you a better deal, you again could switch with no problems whatsoever. So the reason, why would we do this in Lexington? The primary reason is that we're looking to provide some real benefits for the people in the town. And those benefits are, one, competitive lower electricity rates. And the number two reason is that we're very interested in Lexington in transitioning to a cleaner, more efficient energy supply. So if we can combine those two, we can beat Eversource's price and transition to a renewable source. We're starting to meet our objectives of where we want to be in town. The final thing, probably the most common question I get is I walk down the street in Lexington, people pull me aside and they say, Mark, I just got one of these things in the mail, right? I got another one of these things in the mail today. Should I do it? Should I switch? Should I not switch? And what you find is that even though all of us have probably gotten 5 or 10 or 15 of these sort of things in the mail saying, please switch to another supplier, only 10% to 15% of the people in Lexington have actually done it because, well, frankly, if you're spending $100 a month on your electricity and it's going to save you $2 a month or $3 a month, very few people want to spend the time, right? The other reason is that people are concerned. People are concerned that if I sign up, maybe I haven't picked the right company. And so let's be careful because I'm not sure I picked the right company, or maybe I haven't picked the right rate. Am I going to make a wrong choice? And so what we're doing here in Lexington is we're saying we're going to look at this from a consumer protection perspective. What we want to do is we're going out and with the help of experts in the field, going out and finding 7 or 8 different competitive suppliers. We're evaluating them, we're reading their legal agreements, we're deciding who is best from a financial perspective, who's best from a rate perspective, who's best from a legal perspective for the town of Lexington, and we make that decision at the time, each time this contract comes up. So what we decided to do is we said we were going to go out for a flat rate for the 18 months that this program is in place. There will be no change in rates. You don't have to worry or watch your rates going up and down over this period of time. You're locked in and you're happy. But at the end of in November of 2018, when we're 6 weeks away from running out of this, we'll go out again into the market, go out and look at the 7 or 8 providers who are out there, and we will again, not necessarily select the one we've selected today, but we'll select the best one that's available at that time for the town of Lexington. So let me just show you what the bills look like. You were asking about the bills. So what you're looking at here is your bill today, your Eversource basic service bill, and what your bill would look like when we switch over to community choice. And so what you're looking at here, John J. customer in Lexington, 750 kilowatt hours a month works out to $164 a month. It says here, your cost of electricity, your electricity comes from Eversource, your electricity supplier is Eversource. The only change you'd see over here is it says your electricity comes from Agera, and it gives you the name and address and telephone number of Agera. The other thing you'd see is about your bill going from $164 to $161. And then this is the other side of the bill. This is the part of the bill that probably makes your eyes go a little, you probably need to get your readers on to see this, but it goes into great and gory detail about, 5 digits of rates for distribution and transition and transmission and all this sort of stuff. None of that changes. This is all Eversource's delivery charges. They are not affected in any way, shape, or form. What ends up happening is, right here it says supplier Eversource, here it says supplier Agera Energy. And those are the only changes that you're going to see in your bill. So, a lot of people have asked some questions. They said they're getting these letters right now. If you're getting a letter that doesn't have the town of Lexington seal on it, it doesn't come from the town. It's somebody else who's trying to get in and confuse you and make you think that they're the ones that are supplying clean energy in Lexington. We've had somebody came and knocked on my door yesterday and said, we'd like to switch to clean energy. So the town is not sending anybody out to knock on anybody's doors. We're not making robocalls. We're not calling anybody. If anybody, this letter asks you for your account number. It asks you to send something in. None of that happens with the town of Lexington. So if you want, like we think most people in Lexington would like, to have less expensive electricity and cleaner electricity, you don't have to do anything if you're already on Eversource Basic Service. It'll happen automatically. Now, some of you may be on a competitive supplier. I've already chosen, like just average around the room here, 15% of the people in the room maybe are on a competitive supplier. If you've chosen another supplier already for your electricity, this program doesn't affect you. You just keep going with your current supplier as is. Unless, of course, you're not happy with your current supplier, then I would call your current supplier and find out, do they have any fees, do they have any penalties to switch? And if they don't, then you can just switch right over to the town's source by making a phone call. And maybe we can...
Yeah, I'll do that one.
Okay, well, that's really what we had in terms of our presentation today.